2001: A Space Odyssey was released in 1968 and has remained one of the most influential science fiction films of all time. Development began in 1964 when Stanley Kubrick, the director, developed an intense fascination for the possibility of extraterrestrial life. He wanted to make a science fiction film that would be remembered for all time, and that's exactly what he did. The film is known for its incredible scientific accuracy, pioneering special effects, and debatable imagery. He and a noted science fiction author, Arthur C. Clarke, wrote the screenplay for the film based on Arthur Clarke's original novel, The Sentinel, which is about an ancient alien artifact left on the moon eons before man discovers its existence. Kubrick and Clarke wanted so much accuracy for their film that they even sought out Carl Sagan for his opinion on the depiction of alien life. The film is not only a pivotal, groundbreaking science fiction film, but also a work of philosophical art. In the beginning of the film, Kubrick uses professional choreographers in gorilla suits to imitate ape movements and to portray mankind in its earliest stage. An African landscape is behind the set of the prehistoric land, even though it was not filmed in Africa. He really wanted to shoot on location, but Kubrick was forced to film in London because of the budget. He was the first director to use front projection with retroreflective matting in a mainstream movie. This process involves projecting the background image onto both the performer and the highly reflective background screen. Front projection was widely used until the blue and green screens came about in the 1990s. When a strange black monolith appears and sparks intelligence into the apes, they learn to develop tools and use these tools to better their survival. However, one ape kills another, and in this moment we're transported into the future, millions of years later into space. In the world of cinematic storytelling, this is what's called a match cut. The ape throws the bone into the air, the camera follows, and we go from the prehistoric man era to the space era. The shape of the bone and the space satellite are similar in position and shape. This scene still holds the record for the longest jump cut through time. Once in space, a Pan Am spacecraft begins to dock into a spinning space station. The stewardess retrieves a lone passenger's pen that is floating in zero gravity, all while the shuttle spins around and around. This ballet alone demonstrates the incredible visual effects that Kubrick used during his time. Using a rotating set, Kubrick was capable of making a stewardess walk up the side of a circular walkway. Kubrick attached the camera to the set as it rotated 180 degrees to keep the point of view constant, making it look like the stewardess walks up the side of the hallway. The passenger we saw earlier on the Pan Am flight is actually Dr. Heywood Floyd, who travels to the moon to observe man's latest discovery, a black monolith buried beneath the surface of the moon. It was, and still is widely discussed, that Stanley Kubrick faked the moon landing. This is because the set design for the moon surface and the monolith was incredibly realistic for it to be on screen a year before Apollo 11. 18 months later, the Discovery 1 is on its way to Jupiter. The ship's onboard computer, HAL 9000, is completely incapable of any error and is 100% perfect. Dr. Dave Bowman and Dr. Frank Poole keep the ship in order with routine checks and chat here and there with HAL. The groundbreaking effects take place on the Discovery. For all the shots inside the spacecraft, Kubrick used a $750,000 Ferris wheel that he had built for the movie. He used this Ferris wheel to produce the artificial gravity that gives us the impression that the centrifuge of the Discovery was spinning. Kubrick had the set pieces attached to the wheel, so while it was spinning, the actor could remain running in place, very much like a large hamster wheel. For the famous jogging scene, the wheel rotated independently for the stationary camera, making it look like Frank was running upside down. The scene where Dave has to eject from his pod into the airlock chamber was all done with wires and camera positioning. To make it seem like he was floating in space, the actor had to jump from a platform towards the camera position below him, while a stagehand was in charge of pulling him up to make him look like he was floating in space. The final portion of the film consists of Dave going on the most psychedelic trip of his life. This infamous scene is known as the Stargate sequence. They used slit-scan photography, which is much like taking a panoramic photo, and took thousands of high-contrast images. It was actually in this last scene that won Stanley Kubrick an Academy Award for groundbreaking visual effects.